Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn we're spirits, not animals. And he said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with the professor.
Wrestling. Thinking about buying a mask.
Yeah.
Or a luchador mask.
Yeah.
In terms of wearing that around. Because the styles that you're seeing out right now for wrestling.
Yeah.
Pretty solid. I mean, I guess in public for masks. Everyone's becoming a fad.
That luchador face mask that I sent you the picture for the other day.
Yeah.
Solid. Like, it's built and it got up here quicker than expected, being from Mexico and going through all that stuff and everything. Yeah. Solid.
Okay.
Solid. Anyway, how you doing?
I can't complain. It's another week.
Yes, it is.
Well, yeah. I'm Dorrian.
I'm Dave.
And we are the Professors of Wrestling, and we want to be Taco Bell famous. So subscribe to the YouTube page. We're working on new content for 2020. Like the Facebook page. Let us know what you think and provide us with feedback and suggestions. Follow us on Instagram at the Professors of Wrestling. Share it all. Spread the word. Join in the discussion. We want to be a community.
Well, definitely. I'm pulling this thing up on the computer because today is a special episode.
Yeah.
Because the lack of wrestling that's going on, we don't have a lot to comment on. So we've been putting out the call for the past week or so, a little over a week, on talking about how do promotions, wrestlers, and fans feel when it comes to going back to shows in light of what's been going on with COVID, Corona, whatever you want to call it, and any concerns, how we're going to have to adjust, because I think we both agree, and hopefully you out there agree, that this is changing up the game a little bit. No one, a year ago, up until March, we didn't know what was going on.
Right.
And this is just shaking up everybody's lives in so many different ways that we can't describe it. But this is just something we want to do more of these topic shows, obviously, with the lack of wrestling. So if you have a topic or idea we could just deep dive into, please hit us up, message us, post something up, and we will would look into it. And on this episode, again, like I said, we're going to focus on concerns from the fans, wrestlers, promoters, on when shows start back up, where are they at, what are they thinking. And this is not about politics. We tend to stay away from that. We want to look at the fun part of the business when it comes to wrestling, talking about and promoting all these great wrestlers and promotions that we're lucky to have down here in South Georgia, North Florida. But just talk about
Concerns.
I
mean, definitely, I think a few episodes back we started saying, like, what would happen. This is before as big as it's gotten now.
Right.
How are we going to be? So we piled some things together. Dave piled some things together. And I think this is great information to run through and see what we have. First one.
Oh, just like, I'm Stephen Platinum, and we shared this up on the internet. I want to make sure all my sound's off. Posted up a whole episode talking about this, and it's particularly about what happened in Alabama. And they have a really strict athletics commission. And let me go through the guidelines on that really fast. And I shared this up on our stuff. So promoters, if you're doing a sporting or athletic event, each participant, staff license, blah, 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 needs a test result. So you got to fly out, get there a day ahead of time, test everybody. And then it says that if a participant licensee tests positive or provides results upon arrival, the chief inspector shall suspend or not allow entrance into the facility. And participant license will be suspended until all negative results are presented. So it becomes cost prohibitive to this. And understanding that, these people, small independent promotions, don't have the budgets of
buying all those tests.
So they don't have WWE money or AEW money or any other well-funded, has a big financial backer behind it. So that becomes a big issue. And we just heard there's a protest letter being signed against the Athletic Commission in Alabama, and that's a whole other can of worms. And Georgia has its own issues that we deal with. But you can ask Stephen Platinum to kind of like make comment, because he's already jumped into this publicly on here, and from the most recent episode, do you want to go through and kind of like highlight some of the
I think
these points?
Yeah, fans are exhausted. I saw that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we as fans, the content that's been put out during the pandemic has been great. But I think fans are, as this mentions, fans are exhausted because they do want to sit and see a wrestling match in person. When people gather, people get sick. I do see that. It's just you never know where that person may have been.
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing? You know yourself, but you don't know other people. Cases of COVID are increasing.
Particularly in Georgia, there's been a bump up since they opened things are slowly opening up.
And then, what is it? Especially in Lowndes County, you also think about what are we doing in terms of, I think I was in Walmart yesterday with a mask on. You don't see people really thinking, is it serious or not serious?
I think he really jumped into this talking about social mores, and those are referring to a set of norms by society, right? What's acceptable behavior. So this is social norms that are going on. Everybody, and we're paraphrasing Stephen here. Everybody wants things open. I don't think I know anybody who doesn't want something open. We want to go back to the way it was. That kind of go back to normal.
Yeah.
And it's also whatever the numbers are doing with COVID are not coinciding with what people doing. So like numbers are going up, but we still wanted things to be open up. So I mean, society. We have cabin fever right now, and we don't like being told what to do.
True. One of the good things that I saw on this is think before you speak. Mm-hmm. And I think with that, you also have to be willing to listen. And that's something that's going to go far as we continue on through this pandemic. Being able to listen to people and hear their sides of what's going on. I think just by me in a normal work week, what I'm seeing is there's a lot of people out of work, even through this, and how are they adjusting? So how do you bring that into people who are anxious?
And there's a lot of anger. I think it's a lot of fear, a lot of unknowns. And it's one of those things that's out of your hand, and other people are making decisions for you. I think could be one of the factors that's getting people upset.
Because I wonder and I've said this, what are your safety guidelines going to be as a wrestling promotion? Because if we're going to go to these things, one, we want to be safe because we all have family that we have to go back to. So
right.
What are the guidelines? Make those public. Let people know. Take a stance and say, hey, if you're not following these guidelines, you can't come in.
Most definitely. I think, too, and I like the think before you think, or speak, excuse me, on that, is be respectful of other people, whether they agree or disagree with you on whatever your thinkings about how this came about and where it's at and politically and socially. And again, we're not making value judgments on here. We're just looking at what's going on in a situation and trying to create discussion points on it. But you're going to have a wide variety of opinions on this. And I think to truly understand why people feel a certain way and what they're thinking, you have to listen to what they're saying. So, and I think being understanding and be respectful of other people's opinions. You can disagree with it all you want, but understand you shouting at them or doing whatever on the internet not going to change their opinion on it.
It's not.
Shall we go into... So, I think it was just kind of wrap what Steve was talking about. It's very thoughtful thinking about, like, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of unknowns. There's what scientists are saying, there's what the politicians are saying, and then we're dealing with the public who's maybe not getting the whole picture or not doing the research that they need to be doing. And you get antsy and you're jumping to conclusions and you're frustrated, and that's where some actions probably arise out of.
Yeah.
And I think we all want to be in there eating our nachos.
Eating our nachos, drinking our Mountain Dew.
And watching some wrestling.
But we had to take some time.
Yep.
That was cool. Next one goes Wiregrass Wrestling Alliance.
Yes.
They say while they're awaiting this COVID-19 to get out of here, WWA can get so that they can get running again. They're still going to help their community in every way possible. The CDC, Governor at AAC, has set those guidelines. They're just saying they don't agree with them, but they must abide by them. So with that said, some workers do not feel the need to get the COVID swabs, especially the kids that help with the snack bar and other things. I think you're looking at that. I mean, so we shall abide and wait until it clears. However, they have partnered with a few organizations and will help them by way of photos, merch, autographs. Social distancing will be respected, masks respected. That's what WWA was founded on, and that's important for them to help those who are in need. They can't hold a show or event without meeting the set guidelines. They can be there for the community and help those who are in need. They are awaiting new guidelines set by those people in charge. They ask that you be patient with them and those who are regulating. More to come. Training Sunday, 1 p.m. Stay hydrated.
It's hot. It's the South and it's humid, as we're all familiar with.
Make sure you drink water.
So I think like promotions can't do anything, particularly if you go back and watch that Stephen Platinum talking about that. And Alabama has a really strict athletics commission, as he says, has a lot of stroke.
Yeah.
So he can, whoever they are, a person in charge, can put a stop to everything, and has created guidelines that are cost prohibitive for independent promotions, like we would say, like hybrid. What is this? Is Wiregrass Wrestling Alliance becomes cost prohibitive. Also, it becomes cost prohibitive to wrestlers
To travel the day before.
You're talking about hotel. You're talking about food. You're talking like, do I have to take off from work if I'm still there? So there becomes a lot of other mitigating factors into this, and a lot of these promotions are more mom and pop. They don't, it's show to show, or it's out of their pocket. And I don't know how much a COVID test costs.
Me either. And I think I think about the average size of a wrestling, I guess worker aspect. I think 20 plus would be fair.
Yeah.
20-30 range. From concessions, wrestlers, door.
Right.
Even just the random people around. It's just workers.
So we're talking, it gets expensive.
Right.
It adds up fast. And then like if you want some of the bigger names, they're going to make, out of hotel, like you're not going to pay someone just out of wrestling school for a night in a hotel night before. But if you're getting a bigger name that's going to be a draw that people are going to want to come to see.
They're going to want to stay at the Marriott.
Well, not even that, but even like the Motel 6, the Budget Inn or whatever, the Hotel Motel, whatever you're gonna. It's still you're talking. That's money out of pocket.
Right. And
so before you even go, you're in the hole. On top of that, you're paying rental fee for the facility, your insurance. Before you go, and how many people are going to really show up to this?
Because then that's how you're going to be able to make that money back.
Right, with concessions, merchandise.
It's a good number. It's a good number to see, or a balance factor. How many people?
So I am sympathetic to what Wiregrass is saying, and what a lot of the wrestling promotions are saying. I'm super sympathetic to it, on that. But let's get through all the wrestling promotions and then kind of like wrap it up. Kind of the stuff we were talking about off mic.
Gotcha. This one comes from Anarchy Wrestling. In conjunction with CDC recommended guidelines, we will be implementing strict social distancing guidelines as well. Unsocial gathering will be held outdoors. All staff will wear masks and gloves. We will disinfect the ring and restrooms throughout the course of the event. Concessions will be limited to the choices in our vending machine. We will observe 6 feet of separation with seating. However, you may sit as a family or group. This event is being held outdoors, so you are welcome to sit in your vehicle as well. Hand sanitizer will be provided. 0 interaction between audience members and performers. And in accordance with CDC recommendations, masks for audience members is recommended but not required. It is up to the spectator's discretion.
And I think this promotion just ran. I think the one, and this is a Georgia promotion. They did one while everybody was kind of locked down, but it was like they recorded it and did like a live stream of some sort over there. Georgia's rules are a little bit lenient. We don't have as strict as Athletic Commission. but they just changed the rule, and we'll talk about that when we look at what SWA was going to put on a couple shows that had to get canceled due to that. Talking about cost, I didn't think about hand sanitizer, how people are hoarding that stuff.
Yeah, you gotta, even Amazon's out some days.
So that's another expense on top of that.
Yeah. What do you, I guess with this one and looking at it, do you think more promotions as this go will make the decision to move outside? If you could set up a ring outside and bring more people in, would that not be the more safer?
I think safety is relative.
Yeah.
I mean, what is your comfort zone on that? I like the idea of being able to watch it from your car. I think when you hear what people talking about is like the bigger promotions that are recording in front of no audience and all that fun stuff, that really, when going through the live experience, and I don't know about you, but I've been watching some of my favorite artists have been putting live performances on like YouTube and Twitch, so on and so forth, or going any type of live thing. The reason you go live is because you want to experience it.
Right.
It's not the same thing sitting in your car or 6 feet apart from it. I'm thinking how to kind of frame this. There's a million things going on in my mind. Outside, yes, could be a way to go, but almost like you're having that drive-in movie theater. You want to be able to shout and have the wrestlers hear. The interaction is like you're the person you like to cheer or jeer. You want them to hear what you're having to say, and you want to try to get a rise out of them. Or the same thing with the wrestlers. They want to get a rise. If you're a heel,
Yeah.
you want to just tick off all those people and get them all like you want to get heat.
And it's hard to get that heat if you're...
Or I guess honking your horn would be the equivalent to that.
Yeah.
So it could be like how many? We've only seen one outside match.
Lean Ox.
Lean Ox Festival.
Yeah.
And it was rainy and kind of cold.
Yeah. But you maintained the distance, I would think. But it's something.
Yeah.
So that's something in there to look at for Anarchy Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like it's a plan. It's a plan that's in place. I do wonder, though, and maybe if they'll hear this, what's the time disinfecting the ring? What's the time between matches to actually disinfect a ring?
Yeah.
For the next match?
Oh, man, that's a whole other thing. Now you've got to, you have one match to just kill her, and people are like, yeah! And then the next match, you lose that crowd
Right.
energy.
So it's just something to think about. Maybe the fans know, or any other wrestlers. How long does it take to disinfect a ring?
That's a great question.
So, cool. These next few come from promotions that we normally go to.
Yeah.
This is no names or anything. This first one goes, I'm hoping they hope that they can start soon. They hope that their state will give them the guidelines so that they are okay. It's just the testing, understanding the testing before and after. And then
I think it becomes in that is, it seems to me some of this, what frustration is, they don't have clear guidelines from state organizations.
yes.
And state organizations don't understand what they do. And I don't know how much communication's being going back and forth between promotions and the state, particularly when it comes to wrestling or any MMA or fill in the blank, any type where there's going to be physical activity, baseball, football, so on and so forth on that one. So you have people, and we see this in our vocation, people making decisions that are going to impact others, not knowing the full implications or understanding what that job involves. And so, as a promotion, I can see that, why, okay, what do you want me to do? I'm willing to do it, but you keep changing the game up. You're punching water is the reference that I always kind of tend to use.
Yeah. I mean, it's something I would say it's going to be hard, I guess, to nail down guidelines because we're not at the same guidelines as we were in March.
Right.
As we keep growing, or not we keep growing, but as the days keep going,
yeah,
you'll see these guidelines change, and how do you change as a promotion to work around that? One of the things I think we always talk about is there a central office for wrestling? Like, we know WWE is WWE.
Right.
That is, Vince McMahon's that big person. If you're thinking independent promotions, is there a coalition for independent promotions to, I would say, have their voice heard by politicians, or does that make sense?
Right. Like you hire somebody to go speak your thing. So like all the what do they call that? Shoot, I'm totally drawing a blank on like if you're a pharmaceutical industry, you hire somebody to go pitch your case to politicians and all that.
Right.
Dude, I don't. A lot of these promotions probably talk to each other, but then there's probably a lot of them that don't talk to each other as well. Like there's certain politics that we're not privy to, and I'm glad we're not privy to them.
Same.
They go into like who they're going to talk to, so they don't have a spokesperson or a central kind of like a place where they can go to, and then that person's going to go advocate for them.
Because I would think, I mean, as you say, we are sympathetic to these
Right.
promotions, but how do you come together as a wrestling community to make sure that you yourself in that state are good?
I think you would probably want a
Well,
similar stance that everybody could support
right.
and get behind. So an advocate, and I'm totally drawing a blank on what those people are being called.
Not PACs, are they?
No, the PAC, that's a political action group. I'm talking about like people that you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We'll look it up. Call us, this isn't botch on our part. Anyway,
Yeah.
another promotion concerned about the new guidelines, which I think is a common theme that we're going to get through all of this.
Yes.
And be able to do that. How is this going to impact storylines? And that have been on the drawing board. I know this has impact our plans and our kind of like things that we're dealing with, definitely. And this isn't. Will people remember where the storylines left off?
Yeah.
And then also how to keep people safe and running temperature checks at the door. So you're having to turn people away. So you've been like, you see a promotion, people are going to get just red hot, mad, angry.
Yeah.
You can't come in, you've got a temperature, and they've been waiting all stinking week.
And then boom.
Or and everybody's been at home, and this is where I'm going to get my release, and I'm told I'm not able to get in.
And it goes back to think before you speak. Understand that it's not the wrestling promotion saying this. I would say it's the guidelines of where we are as a community.
Yeah.
To make sure that we're all safe. So, I think in this terms of storyline for everyone, you just gotta keep putting it out there. Take your time while you're in this quarantine to cut those videos. I mean, build up that heat, that social media heat, as long as you can.
This is, I think about maybe we should do a whole topic on like what makes for good social media use and bad social media use.
Right.
And this one is like, how are you using these tools that are available to you?
Everything El Nino does is bad social media use.
100%.
That's just a personal opinion there.
I would second that.
Good deal.
Do you want to do the next one there?
This one says, on one hand, I miss doing shows and they're ready to start up. On the other hand, they're worried about the safety of the fans and their workers. There's a possibility that they'll catch backlash from the public and other promoters for running.
Yeah.
They'd love to find a bigger venue to run in. If they happen to run a show at their normal spot, there's going to be some changes due to the size of that place. And this is something that even I saw here in Valdosta, that you saw bars that were still open.
Yeah.
And bands were giving them huge flack for remaining open and not adhering to the social distancing or any of the guidelines.
Well, I know there's some businesses that remained open during this too. And that's their choice, right or wrong or indifferent, but,
You definitely see where it goes. They finish up by saying they may go out there and measure out the seats, if that's even worth trying.
But I think if you're doing a bar show, like, bars are probably going to go, okay, it's a door deal, so you're going to make whatever's on the door, so you're not paying a rental per se.
Yeah.
But what the venue has to pay, so you're a bar that serves liquor or beer or food or whatever, you have to cover your nut, right? You still have to cover the water bill, the power bill. You're paying staff, because if your staff's sitting around, and so people are going to have to, buy drinks and food. It's still that you've got, and then you've got to, if you don't own your own ring, you're going to have to rent it.
Yeah.
And how clean or how well kept up is that ring, and you return it. There becomes a lot of things. I mean, a lot of unknowns on this. And I don't envy any of these promoters. There's a lot of decisions, because you can make a decision with all the best intentions in the world, and one person gets sick, and those are going to be the same person who would go, I need to do this, you can't, I need blah blah blah, and then they're like, I can't believe they allowed this to happen. So there's a backlash on that.
Yes.
And it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Because you're going to see, I would say, there are a good portion of these, yes, you're going to get out there and try it. I would think have some form of caution, have a plan. I can't stress this enough, make your plan known so that the people who are following you on social media know, I need to bring this, I need to be doing this before I can even step in through the door.
Right.
Because if you just tell somebody the day of, I mean, that's not enough time, I would think.
No, you've got to allow fans to prepare.
Right.
And some may make a decision to go or not to go based off of, somebody just, heck with it, I'm going anyway. And somebody like, I don't have enough information.
Right. So that's something to really think about in these cases. I think we've done, I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think it's consistent in terms of they care about the fans. Every promotion, whether we said their name or not said their name, they care about the fans and where they are. They care about the workers.
Mm-hmm.
They're adhering to the guidelines, where they're strict, non-strict, and all these different state-by-state cases. It's still, how do you care for the people who really come and support you?
That's the catch-22 that we're in.
Yeah.
I think without the fans, live entertainment needs fans.
Right.
And it becomes, what's the threshold, what's the line to which you decide you're going to do it or not put on a show? And then you think about the economics behind it. And then you're thinking about not only the fans, but what's at the point that, where's the talent stand on this? I mean, we haven't even talked about the talent. We've been really super focused on
the promotions. And
we got one more, and I think we'd be safe to say.
Yeah, I think we can say it. I mean, we said it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
SWA, they had to cancel the June 20th show in Pavo and move the Newton show from June 27th to July 11th due to the governor altering the stipulations on June 11th.
Mm-hmm.
Their biggest concerns are, how will the populace react to wrestling returning after such trying times? Will it be welcomed back with open arms from the vast majority? How's it going to be with limited interactions with the fans directly from the wrestlers themselves? Limited meet and greets? How is social distancing going to affect attendance? Will the fans rather use card readers instead of cash? Will concessions still be a necessity? Pavo nachos?
I know, our favorites.
And then will barricades be a necessity? I mean, I think looking at this one and going to SWA as much as we do, SWA it's a family atmosphere.
Yeah.
From wrestlers to fans. When you think you can't hug your family, in their terms of, you see that kind of interaction of,
yeah,
I knew you when you were this high. How do you say, hey, I can't do this?
Yeah, you have to. This goes back to social norms. Like, this was acceptable before X. Now this has happened. This is what we're going to have to do. This is the new social norm. And I think this goes back to, you got to educate the fan on what's going to be appropriate and what's not going to be appropriate.
Yeah.
Like, the high five. And talking to, I think the handshake, which plays. You saw this as you were doing the who was the face of Spinebuster. There's certain things, traditions that go in with the wrestling about respect, about the handshake, about why you do this. Like, how is that going to change for the wrestler in the locker room?
You can't do what you used to do. I mean,
Right.
it's yeah.
So, and this is another expense. If you're a promotion that doesn't, a lot of them we go to don't have barricades. Like, there's space between the ring and that first row of seats, but most of the times there is no barricade.
You can throw your silly string at a wrestler, and
so at what point is that something I'm going to have to rent or buy? So that's another expense.
how do you tell? And I guess with not just SWA, but all of these, they get into that situation of how do you do a hardcore match, in which normally they go out into the stands or into the areas, and you're saying no, keep it
Within the squared circle.
right. Make sure you bring your weapons to the ring.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, and then what if the blood's going to spurt out? You're going to have to create a disc. I mean,
It's
you have to be a mathematician to figure all this.
And then with the card readers, understanding these places need internet, and
with some of the places don't necessarily have the best Wi-Fi and or internet, depending on who your service provider is.
So it's things like that you're starting to think about. And it's not to be those what if kind of situations that we get on a daily email,
right?
But it's things that here are the steps that we as a community, because again, that keyword that we are, community, have to get prepared for.
Mm-hmm. What if I don't have a Vimeo account? Now I have to create one. How do I do that? So now you're getting a tech gap in there. But
what if my bank isn't accepted by Vimeo or Venmo? So
do I have to have a PayPal, Vimeo? What's another one?
Cash App,
Squarespace.
Yeah,
all that. I got some wrestlers' perspective. A few of them out there were wanting to do it, and I think we've heard a lot of talents anxious.
They are.
They want to get back to doing what they're doing. But one of the comments is they want the fans to come back. They love the energy that they've been displaying on social media. But again, seems to be a common theme. So so when it returns, they say they expect those energetic crowds. Are those crowds really going to follow through with that?
Yeah. I mean, you would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only so many. I think one of my cool things that it was you, Bill, and I would always go back for SWA is the sign.
Yeah.
And how the sign would change based off of what happened.
Oh, yeah. Like what you could bring into the store, what was acceptable. Like, I've got a picture of it somewhere. You can't curse.
Right.
No guns or knives.
Yeah.
No, you cannot bring in your own food and or beverage.
And how that sign would change sometimes.
Yeah.
Just to keep people updated. I was like, that's pretty dope. But can the fans follow these guidelines to make sure that we're safe?
And another wrestler, can they follow guidelines? What precautions should promotions follow? Can company follow the precautions to keep fans safe? I think we get into financial issues right there.
Yes. How much is a test? How are you going to check their temperatures? Who's going to ensure that you're changing out that whatever you're using to check temperature?
Yeah.
So.
But also too with the wrestlers, and you think about this is there's certain like how is this going to impact wrestling academy / training?
Is there rust? Is there ring?
Well, I'm not even talking about that. So if I want to get into the wrestling business,
you can't even get in for.
Yeah, like we just heard Jay Lethal's opening up July, sometime later this summer. How does that impact your training? And now are you gonna have to pay for it as a wrestler? Is that another cost to get training? You have to pay for your own COVID testing.
Dang.
How much ring rust is going on?
How are wrestlers staying in shape during all this? I mean, it's definitely something to think about as we go forward through this summer. Because what is it? Month 1 almost done, halfway through.
Yeah.
No wrestling yet for us in South Georgia.
No, we've been. It's been very, very dry.
It's a dry summer.
It is.
Anything else you got, Dave?
I got nothing. Do you want to? Do you have any kind of final thoughts on this?
I think my final thoughts, I would say, be safe wherever you are. I hope you're safe. I hope you're healthy. Hope your family's healthy. I know, for me, that's just the main thing. I hope that our fans, the people who listen, the people who we talk to on a daily basis, are safe and healthy. And my final thoughts is I hope the promotions do the right thing and post those guidelines of what you're going to be doing and what you expect out of us as fans so we can follow them.
I'm just going to say ditto. I'd just be repeating what you said there.
Cool beans.
Do you want to land this ship?
I'm Dorrian. You can follow me on Twitter at D2Baber.
I'm Dave, and you can find me at Just a Professor.
Remember, we are the Professors of Wrestling, and we want to be Taco Bell famous, so subscribe to the YouTube page. We are working on new content for 2020. Like the Facebook page, let us know what you think, and provide us with feedback and suggestions. Follow us on Instagram at the Professors of Wrestling. Share it all, spread the word, and remember, we want to be a community.
We do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Be safe.